investment executive. But the big thanks I'd like to give is to all of you for coming out and supporting it. We had a couple of new winners that were in draws that are on the board outside. And I just got to bring up the picture here on my phone to tell you who that is. Is it you? It's Barry Mills for the Orange Benefit Fund, Rustam Corey for Georgiadis, and Jeffrey Gregory for the Knowledge Bureau Scholarship. So for those of you that I just named, there's some gifts for you there. Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our next presentation. And to do that, I'm just going to introduce someone to take that off my hands. So that's Roberta Tassin. So, Roberta, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much, Sheldon. It's a pleasure to be here today. As many of you know, my name is Roberta Tassin. I am the broker for the IFB Individual and Corporate E&O Insurance Program. Magnus has been the broker of record on this program for the last 13 years, and we greatly value the relationship we have with IFB. Another long-standing partner within this relationship is the insurance company, Axis Reinsurance. They have been the insurer for the program since 2011. It's been a very strong and very great relationship, and we're very pleased today to have Tina and Margaret here from Axis to speak on the topic of claims. Tina Luthra is going to be the first one to speak. She began her insurance career at Axis Capital Switzerland as an underwriting assistant, junior underwriter in reinsurance. She moved to Toronto working at Axis Capital Canada as a senior underwriting assistant, and then she moved to be an underwriter, focusing on a senior underwriting role in professional lines, specializing in D&O and EPL, which is employment practices liability, fiduciary liability, crime, and financial services, errors and omissions. Tina holds a master's degree in sociology and psychology from the University of Basel. Post Tina speaking, Margaret Mead will also join in the session. Margaret Mead joined Axis Insurance as head of Canada Claims in 2019. Margaret leads a team that handles directors and officers, errors and omissions, employment, media, cyber, fidelity, and general liability claims brought against Canadian-based insurers. Margaret joined Axis from Temple Insurance Company, where she worked for 2 years as claims counsel, handling high-severity liability claims, providing claims oversight for several MGA programs, and collaborating with underwriters on product development. Prior to this, Ms. Mead was specialty claims examiner at Chubb, where she also worked with the Office of the General Counsel to provide coverage advice and other in-house legal support to business units. Ms. Mead holds a law degree from McGill and a master's degree in international business law from University College London, has been called to the bar in Quebec and Ontario, and is a licensed commercial lines claims adjuster in Quebec. Please give a warm welcome to both Tina and Margaret.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having us here today. So today's session's title, as Roberta already mentioned, is Recent Trends in E&O Claims. Good, this is working. So in this session, we want to give you a bit of an overview of some common areas where claims may arise and how very often potential issues and claims are caused by actions and decisions where you as agents may not necessarily expect to run into any problems or any issues. So while responsible behavior and your good intentions are always a good start, we want to share some recommendations and advice around some simple good habits that you could kind of adapt in order to prevent problems and have any issues throughout your career as financial advisors and agents. So let's have a look at the agenda. All right. So we will start by looking at the most common behaviors that can lead to claims. In the first point, we will then present some findings from the some life insurance claims trends and findings based on the life insurance agents compliance report from the FSCO. This is a report that was last issued 2017 and 18, and it's conducted over a period of 1 year. I'll speak more details then. So then same story for the MFDA portion. We will also present some findings and details from the MFDA enforcement department in terms of what they see with issues, claims, and so on. So, and then once we did that scary portion of what claims can arise, what all we've seen so far, and what is out there in the market, we will look at some general good habits you should adapt to avoid these claims. Then in the next step, we will share some real-life claims examples to show the whole process, how the process looks like on our end, and what all we see on our end, and how a claim can potentially develop. We will briefly introduce the IFB program and outline some benefits from the IFB program that we are offering. And last but not least, we have summarized our overall feedback and recommendations to you in a list of top 10 best practices you should follow to avoid claims in our career as advisors. This is just based on the reports that are out there, as well as what we see in our daily life. Okay. So let's start with the question, what can lead to a claim? Lack of due diligence. In your role as financial advisor, you are the one responsible for any advice or any recommendations that you provide to your client. That's a statement. This responsibility cannot be delegated to any third party. So you cannot delegate that to any mentor or any insurance provider or anyone else. It is your responsibility, and you are the one facing any issues that arise from there. The term due diligence means required carefulness. And it just means that you are expected to perform a service with a certain standard of care, and that you have to take reasonable steps in order to meet that standard in your role as agent. Due diligence commonly applies to a voluntary process, but it can also be a legal obligation, meaning it can be required by law for you to follow those procedures. The next one that we see a lot is false promises. What we mean to say here is that despite your best intentions and a lot of market research that you may conduct, it is not possible to fully predict market developments or like performance of a financial plan or investment account that you may be offering. So you should never promise or guarantee any profits or investments performance as part of the overall financial plan. Always be cautious, present your clients with the data, outline what the limits are, but beyond that, do not guarantee something that is not within your hand necessarily. Like I said, there are no investment systems that will protect a plan from losses due to unforeseen market forces, and we've seen how volatile the market can be, and many different variables play a role in your overall performance, and as such, you should just hold back on going beyond what your advice can be. Okay. Disclosure of risk is another one that we see a lot, and that is very important. The thought behind this point is that your clients can only then make educated and informed decisions about their financial plans if the details and risks that are associated with your recommended financial plan are fully outlined. If all the risks associated with your recommendation are clearly communicated, then your clients are in a position to actively participate in the decision-making process. You don't want to decide on their behalf. You don't want to leave them in an area where they're not fully able to understand what it is. You want to make sure that whatever you know, you try as best possible to present that to them as well, and put them on the level that you have as well in terms of what you're offering them and what you're recommending. So in other words, the client relies on you to present them all the risks and potential benefits, and they should have a full understanding in order to make that decision for themselves, and not you shouldn't be the one to make it on their behalf. Good. Another one that is also very important to keep in mind is around continuous commitment. So for you as financial advisors, implementing the initial financial plan is the first step. Of course, you assess and you recommend something. From there on, it's imperative to keep working with your clients to ensure that the strategy continues to suit their needs, right? The economy can be very, very turbulent, and we've all experienced that in the past, and financial planning needs keep changing. So many individuals may be at one position in 1 year, but in a year from that point, their circumstances may vary significantly, which requires you to really follow them along that process and make sure that you have all the information that you need, and whatever you're suggesting or offering is up to date to their situation. So we've touched on these 4 topics. I just want to kind of summarize them one more time. just to kind of put them in one picture, because I'd like you to just kind of keep that in mind as you move forward and look at some additional data, some findings, because whatever we will present in the next few slides will ultimately be touching around these topics, and it can all be linked back to these pretty straightforward and basic habits that are good to follow. Okay. So our next point is the question around life insurance trends. As I said in the agenda overview, I've looked through some reportings from the FSCO, and I'd like to just share some details with you. So, as you all know, the FSO is a regulatory agency in Ontario, and one of their responsibilities is the monitoring and oversight of compliance for life insurance agents. The FSCO frequently performs examinations and reviews of life insurance agents, and they usually summarize their findings in a compliance report. I believe it's annually or every 2 years. So for the 2017 and 18 report, a total of 132 on-site examinations were performed, and in addition to that, there were 94 desk reviews that were conducted over a period of 1 year. On-site examinations are face-to-face examinations where the investigation happens with the agent, and desk reviews are reviews through phone calls and email conversations, so the gathering of information is more electronic and online. So let's have a look at the review findings. I put together a couple of details here. Life insurance trends have split the findings into on-site examinations and desk reviews. So like I said, out of 132 agents that were examined, an overall compliance level was reached of 66%. That means, as we can see in the pie chart, that 45 agents, which represents 34%, were in some way non-compliant, and as such were referred to the regulatory discipline officers for possible enforcement actions. This, to me, when I went through the report, was quite a big number. It's 34% is, stands out. And then in terms of details, the most pervasive non-compliance issues included failing to disclose in writing all insurers represented. So you really want to make sure if you're, for example, servicing a family, that you have all the individuals listed, you have the details for each one of them, and you don't have like a main person and the rest is kind of a little hazy and gray. You want to make sure that you collect all the data for each and every one. The other one, in terms of non-compliance, is the failure to comply with the continuing education requirements. We see that a lot as well, and it's really something that is rather straightforward and easy to follow. I just keep check on where you're standing in terms of what your requirement is and how far you are, to make sure that at the end of the year, or when you have to resubmit your data for anything, that you have all the continuing education covered. In terms of best practice issues, failure to document stands out, right? So failure to document client acknowledgements, if an agent's recommendation, if you recommended something and your client actually went for something else, or if you had certain discussions with your clients around specific products or specific advice, and you missed to note that down in writing. It is a requirement to have a record of all your meetings and all your discussions with your client. You also should always make sure that you that you document your recommendations to your client, and that you document the need assessment. So basically, just really make sure that you have everything in writing, and you don't leave anything to a guessing game, because memories might fade. You might not recollect the whole details later on, and it's definitely always going to be a good one for you to have everything ready to present in case you are required to show proof of your processes and everything. Okay, so that's in terms of on-site examinations. For the desk reviews, as mentioned, there were 94 desk reviews conducted with an overall compliance level of 68%, so the numbers here are similar. Again, 32% was in some way or the other non-compliant. Where the regulatory discipline officers was looking into possible enforcement actions. The most pervasive non-compliance issues included failure to comply with the continuing education requirements, again the same story, and failure